there, welcome back to the channel. So about a couple of months ago I put out a video with my plan to do, I'm doing Power Tour this year with my son. First time we're ever doing it. The plan was to take the Grand National here, but since then I bought the Nova, 71 Nova. I'd rather take this if possible on the Power Tour. It's a pretty neat little car. It's got a 5.3 Chevy engine with a 75mm turbo, intercooled turbo 400 transmission, 10-inch converter, and 8.8 Ford rear. Another weekend it's raining. So anyway, do need to do a few things on it. You know, a couple of little minor things. So when I got it, one of the headlights was out, the wipers weren't working. The last video I put out, I got a lot of comments about how ridiculously loud the fuel pump is on it and how annoying it is. I have the GoPro camera and it seems to amplify noises like that. Like, yes, the fuel pump is loud, but it's not nearly as loud as the way it sounds in the video. So I was talking to the guys at SK Speed in Lindenhurst about the fuel pump situation. This car has a stock fuel tank in it, and it's got a AEM 400 liter per hour external pump, which is why it's loud. And also the way that the pump is mounted, I guess it's drawing from inside the tank and pulling it out, and it's really supposed to have a gravity feed. So what they were telling me is it's kind of making the pump struggle a little bit to pull the fuel out of the tank, and maybe that's why it sounds loud. And probably looking into maybe doing a new tank where you can put an in-tank pump in it from Tanks Inc. I was checking these tanks out. They look pretty cool. There's two holes, one for the sending unit for the fuel gauge, and then another one that's the size to use one of their fuel pump modules. And I can get a 400, a 430, or 450 liter per hour single pump. You know, any of those would probably do on this car. So looking into that possibly pretty much about 3 months exactly before the Power Tour. Yeah, the other thing I was just trying to figure out is the Terminator X, the Holley system, because I've never had anything like that before. Just wanted to do like a data log, just to try to, you know, run the car and see, you know, what all the readings are and everything, make sure everything looks okay. Car's pretty much good to go. I mean, yeah, so in this video, just gonna look into the headlight situation, the wipers, seeing if I can do a data log, because I still have to order the fuel system parts, and that will be in a future video. Got these Wagner replacement halogen headlamps. So to get the trim piece off, there's two Phillips screws here and then two there to get that off, and then there's a regular flathead screwdriver to get like 3 screws that hold the trim ring, and then the bulb will come out. So I noticed there's these bumps molded into the glass, and it's the same on the old lamp and the new lamp, and it looks like they're supposed to fit into these notches in the headlight bucket, and when you line them up the headlight is crooked. So I have a feeling this headlight bucket was put in incorrectly, so I'm going to try to rotate it to get these notches to line up with the notches, the bumps in the bulb. I think I figured out what happened here. So when I was on that side and I was trying to rotate the headlight bucket to get into the right orientation, the holes were not lining up for the adjustment screws. There's a spring that attaches right there, and then there's the 2 adjustment screws. So it wasn't lining up, so then I was like, well, maybe these things were put on reversed, and there's a specific one for right and left. So I was going to change this bulb anyway, even though it worked, so I was just going to put a new bulb in. So I swapped the buckets, and now it looks like everything's going to work on this side. I assume everything should work on that side. I can see how they can easily be mixed up. You know they're incorrectly when you have this notch facing up at 12 o'clock and the two adjustment screw slots are lined up. Now when you put the bulb in, everything lines up and kind of locks into place. So this is how I'm gonna aim the headlights just to get them in the ballpark. So I figure this car, the headlights are correct, the aiming. So I'm about 10 feet from the garage door. I'm gonna mark like the center of the light is right about here for the right, and right about here for the left. So the center of the light is about 28 inches. And over here, about 26 and a half. So at first glance here, the lights are like pretty low. So definitely gonna have to bring them up. But I also want to measure the relative height from the ground, because that's important too. So this is gonna be the target for the Nova lights. It's lower, but you know, the headlights are actually much lower on this car than the Dodge. So yeah, so I needed to bring the lights up. So what you do to bring them up is you tighten this top Phillips screw here. You bring the top of the light in, which will tilt it up, and then you have the side adjustment, which will turn the light, you know, left or right. So, you know, if you want to bring it to the right, you would tighten this. It's hard to see because it's getting brighter out, but the lights are sort of focused on those lower two pieces of tape now. Probably should do this, you know, when it's dark out, but I got impatient. But I think we're in the ballpark. Should be good enough for now. Can always fine tune it if necessary. As long as it's close, not pointing up at the sky or completely down at the ground, should be okay. It's not like I'm going to be driving this too much at night. So the good thing is, even after you put the trims back on, they still leave a little space. You get the screwdriver in to make the adjustments. So I'll test it out at night and make any adjustments if needed. So when I got this car, the wipers didn't work. I saw that two of the connectors were unplugged to the wiper motor. So first thing I did was try plugging them back in. So what's happening is the wipers are just staying on all the time when the key is on. So I unplugged the connectors and looked up how this is wired, and the way it works is there's always power to the wiper motor, and when you're turning on the switch inside the car, you're actually completing the circuit to ground. So what I did was I put the test light on the connector, and the other end of the test light lead goes to ground, and confirmed that the switch was actually working correctly. So then I knew pretty much had to be the wiper motor that was at fault. They can short internally. I didn't really feel like taking it apart to check it out, so I just ordered another one. So I ordered a windshield wiper motor. Took about, I don't know, more than a week to get here. You have to remove it, and then there's 3 screws to the firewall, here, there, and there. To remove it, then you have to swap the washer section onto the new motor, and also there's like a little drive propeller under there. You have to swap, test it, and make sure it's working. So that's what I'm gonna do. Hey, look at that, it works. Ooh, she's struggling. That's on high. All right, not the greatest wipers ever, but at least they work. I don't really need, I'm not planning on driving in the rain, but if I do go on power tour, you need to have wipers, so. So one other little minor issue I was having was with the column shifter. When you're getting it like up to a higher RPM, the car, the shifter would slip down into low, or I guess second gear, and then you would let off and you'd be in second gear. You'd have to shift it back up into drive, either that or hold the shifter in place. So it's got this, I think it's, what it is it's the Summit adjustable column shift linkage rod, which is like a custom cut to fit type of situation. So what I did was I loosened up this jam nut, and I turned this bottom, I had to unbolt it from here, turn this out 1 revolution, so I guess 180 degrees, and put it back, and it just went for a little spin, and now it holds in drive. So I wanted to try to do a data log, on the Holley computer, and I plugged in my laptop the other day, and I was just having all sorts of problems. It wouldn't work. So I think it might be possible to do the data log right from the touchscreen, and it would save. There's an SD chip inside of the handheld controller, whatever they call it, and then you take it out, and then you plug the chip into your computer and read it, and then you get your data log. So I just want to see, I just want to do like a cold start and just look at how everything looks. Home. Nope. Oh, there we go. Why didn't it go home last time? Logging. Start log. Start log. Okay. I pressed it a few times. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. So open up the data log. When you open Terminator X software, you just, the first thing that comes is open global file, open data log. So I open the data log, which was recorded on the SD chip in the controller in the car, which I just had to remove, put into the computer to get that file. So this is there's different options you can go with here. So this is idle cold start. You could do basic fuel. It changes what you're looking at, and then you can also just select different options that will show up or not. So cold start. So I started up the car, and this is where you see all the idling, and then when things start jumping around, that's when I go for a ride around the block. And then at this point, so this green line here is coolant temperature. You can click anywhere along and it'll tell you, over here it'll tell you 112 degrees at this many seconds. So this is after I came back, I guess, and pulled in the driveway. So we're at like 156. We're pretty much almost completely warmed up. And the AFR reading is like 13.3. I just feel like it just might be idling a little rich. It drives fine, no complaints, but I was thinking about maybe trying to just raise up that target AFR to like 14.7 or somewhere around there, maybe low 14s, just so when the car is just sitting there warmed up and idling, it's not smelling so rich. So I'm gonna give that a try. I'm gonna upload that file, and but yeah, I'll do that in another video. So that'll wrap up this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you want to check out the progress on how I'm getting the car ready for Power Tour, and then ultimately going on the Power Tour and seeing how all that works out. And appreciate all the comments and subscriptions. So thanks a lot, and see you soon.